There are quotes around the word fix because Monster Hunter isn't technically broken, but it does have a fundamental problem that may not be possible to solve. That said, I'm gonna try. Now, just to be absolutely clear, I love Monster Hunter. I've been playing this series for almost a decade now, and I've loved nearly every second of it. Furthermore, the most recent entries have been incredible, with Rise quickly becoming one of my favorite games of all time. So the problem is actually pretty simple. Things change over time, and while everything does stay right where you left it, it does still change a bit. Video games are no exception to this rule, as every time a new game is made in a series, its sole purpose is to surpass its predecessors. Ocarina of Time was meant to be a more grand adventure than Link to the Past. Persona 5 was meant to tell a more moving story than Persona 4, and Call of Duty 19 was meant to be exactly the same as Call of Duty 1 through 18. Okay, so they don't all evolve, but Monster Hunter does, especially in recent years. World was both one of the best games in the series, while also being one of the most polarizing. With such dramatic changes, some longtime fans felt it was departing too much from what the series originally was. While I do like the majority of these changes, and even believe that the games today are better than they've ever been, I find myself longing for the feeling that the other games offered, and I'm not alone in that sentiment. A lot of people miss the slower, more deliberate playstyle of the games of the past, and while echoes of their predecessors still reverberate through these newer entries, they definitely have a very different feel to them now than they did before. But that's not even the biggest issue here. There's something much more monumental that we may never see again. And that something is a game like Monster Hunter Rise. I'm sure you know this, but for those of you who don't, Monster Hunter Rise isn't technically a mainline Monster Hunter game. It's being made by the second team. They generally do super experimental things like hunter arts and styles from Generations, and now wire bugs and switch skills for Rise. Most of these changes survive to an extent in the mainline games. For example, some of the hunter arts from Generations made it into World as regular attacks, and that's sure to happen with Monster Hunter 6, but we're probably never gonna get a game that feels like Rise again. But like I said at the start of the video, I've got a solution to that problem. So how do we satisfy both crowds? Both those who enjoy the game as it is right now, and those who enjoy the older style, while also preserving Rise? Well, the answer to all of those questions and more lies behind the subscribe button. So the actual solution I've come up with was so dumb. So the actual solution I've come up with is weapon styles. Remember the weapon styles from Generations that completely changed the way you played the game, altering both the moveset of the weapon and the abilities afforded to the hunter? Well, what if we do that again, but this time with classic style and modern style? Let's use the longsword since I'm pretty familiar with that weapon, and it's one of the weapons that changed the most between pre and post World. So in classic style, the longsword would deal more damage. Whoa, wait, hold on, let me finish. It would deal more damage and adopt its old World moveset. No counters, much slower, more deliberate gameplay, and more damage to compensate for the loss of counters and speed. This style would focus on positioning and waiting for your big opening to land your spirit combo. Modern style, on the other hand, would be exactly like Longsword is now, just a bit weaker due to its speed and counters. This style is all about reacting to the monster's moves and countering every time they swing, then following up those counters with massive punishers like the Helm Splitter when you get the chance. And you could even add a third style based on Rise, although I do admit I'm not totally sure how I'd balance that one. With these styles at play, the players have the option to play the game that they love, be it a slow, deliberate experience all about having to think 3 steps ahead, or a fluid reactionary dance between you and the monster. Either way, you'd be playing the Monster Hunter that's special to you. Is what I would say if it weren't for the whole fundamental problem part. See, I really do think that this is a good idea, but it's not perfect by any means. The reason for that lies in the second half of the title. These games aren't called Hunter, they're called Monster Hunter. The monster part is what complicates this. Monsters are designed around the abilities of the hunters, and they always have been. Look no further than the speed and ferocity that the monsters in Rise exhibit, or the unorthodox abilities that they have at their disposal. These design choices only make sense because of the abilities of the hunter. Narwa can unleash a massive blast of energy that coats the entire floor because the hunter can effectively fly. Magnamalo can toss you into the air and follow up with a combo that'll probably one-shot you because you can wirefall just before he delivers the finishing blow. When it comes to classic and modern style, you'd have to design the monsters around both, and as a result, you could end up harming the quality of the monsters, as they wouldn't be able to take full advantage of either style. They'd instead need to compromise between the two. With all of that said, I think the teams at Capcom do an excellent job at blending the two different styles of their games. They both learn from each other, and as a result, they're able to excel in a way that would be entirely impossible alone. I think in the future, we'll probably lose both classic Monster Hunter and what we now think of as modern Monster Hunter. But you know what? That doesn't matter, because I'm confident that this new Monster Hunter will be an expertly crafted fusion of both. Now, if you liked that video, you can check out this one on how Monster Hunter is losing its identity. And don't worry, I promise it's way more positive than it looks. And let me know what your favorite iteration of a weapon in Monster Hunter is down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.